important. Okay. All right, so we are now live and I'll leave in the hands of Ebenezer. All right, guys, have a great one. Let me make you co-host so that this is
Okay.
uh,
All right, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me clearly. Uh, I don't know. Okay, the thumbs up on it. Sorry, I'm used to Google Meet. Okay. All right. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, you can hear me clearly. All right. So we have quite a number of things to cover in this session. So I might be talking a bit fast. So I would seek I'm seeking your indulgence to like just let me know, when I'm moving too fast. All right. So yeah, quick one. My name is Ebenezer, but you can just call me Ben for easy pronunciation. So yeah, I'm a brand designer who decided to, pivot into the e-commerce space. And now I run an agency of my own. We're pretty new, early stage actually. We just started like January this year. Uh, so that's what I do right now. I'm just like the errand boy for the agency, basically. Um, yeah, that's all about me. Nothing too deep, actually. And like I said, we're going to be moving very fast, so I'm trying to skip all of that. Again, please confirm if you can hear me before we move ahead. I'm going to be asking us a few questions before we move ahead, so I would need us to like, you know, participate and all of that. So, yeah, thank you. Okay, so email marketing for e-commerce brands. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Sorry, hold on, guys.
Hi Ebenezer, are you still here? Ebenezer. Hmm. I think there was a break off there. Okay, it's back. Okay.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Zoom kicked me out. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good now. Okay, please confirm you can see my screen clearly. You should be seeing email marketing design for e-commerce brands.
Is it the same link?
Can you see my screen, guys?
I think you know now.
All right, great.
Like,
So,
like,
email marketing for e-commerce brands. So, I'm going to explain to us later why this is
Sorry,
specifically
Ebenezer,
for
I
it.
just want to confirm something before we move forward. Is it also, guys, is the thing, is it very clear? Is it bold and enlarged for you to see? Can you just like, send thumbs up for me to know? Okay, okay. I just want to know so that it's not like the first session. All right.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. You can carry on. Carry on.
All right, all right, all right. Okay, so quickly I want to explain to us why this is specifically for e-commerce brands. Uh, I'm sure we are all aware of emails generally. You get emails all the time. You get emails from work for those of us that are working already. You get emails from loved ones sometimes actually. And then you get emails from places that you probably wonder weird, or you probably wonder why you're having emails like that. I don't know if any of us has ever gotten an email and then you're wondering why is this particular brand sending me an email? let's say you get an email from say what brand can I think of now? Say you get an email from Sterling Bank and you don't use Sterling Bank, you probably use Access Bank. So you get an email from Sterling Bank and you're wondering why you're receiving emails like that. And that's so technically um what happens is that for every single time that you get into a website or any platform and you give in your email address, most of the time, because we don't read clearly, most of the time your email address is being recorded because it's taken up and then you start getting series of emails. I don't know about us, but like I tend to get a lot of those. So I literally create some time every now and then to unsubscribe from a lot of emails. That's like how powerful email marketing is. You could have like about 1,000 unread um emails right now just because you're just getting a bunch of emails from places that you probably even just got into that website like 5 years ago and you're still receiving emails from them till now. That's how powerful it is. But we're not going to talk about email marketing designs for brands generally because every single brand has an email marketing system or should have an email marketing system. But in this regard, we're going to be talking specifically on e-commerce brands and yeah, so quick backstory, right? Email started like in the late 90s and it was mostly for computers, right? But it became mobile in 2007. Right. And when it became mobile, it was like a big window opened because lots of brands have only connected to people that had access to computers. But now everybody has phones with them and they can easily like send stuff to them. You can just get information firsthand. For instance, if a brand is um running a sale for just this weekend, maybe it's what can we say? What's going on in Nigeria right now? Maybe it's Ramadan. You can just get like the first time information as to the discount that is being run. It could be running for 2 days, could be running for a day, and you get a bunch of those compelling you to come and buy something that you probably did not buy before. You had intentions to buy, and now they're giving it to you at a discounted price. I think that one of the brands that really harass people with a lot of emails has to be Temu, because the moment you enter Temu website, you click on on an item and you leave that website, you probably not hear the end of it until you buy that product because they will send you a bunch of emails for as long as you can think of. All right. So basically, that's like the backstory to all of this. This is to show to us that you're not just going to be designing, if you're designing for brands like this, if you're e-commerce space, you're going to be designing things that actual people are going to be reading, things that actual people are going to be engaging with. So this is a specific industry of design that tests your or that it tests everything about your identity as a designer, because the only way that your work can be considered successful is if it's actually selling. So unlike social media designs, don't get me wrong, every single design has to convert. Sorry, hold on. Volume. Oh, okay. Can you hear me clearly now? Think I'll start from there. Can you guys hear me clearly? Yeah, nobody clearly. Please, guys, I need to know before I go ahead.
All right,
Okay, good, good,
thumbs up
good,
if you
good.
can hear Ebenezer clearly. Can we hear him clearly? Okay, okay. They're saying they can hear you. They can hear you. It's just chaos.
Okay,
That might
super.
be it might be could be your network. Could be your network because everybody's saying they can hear. So that might just be your network. Or maybe try using an earpiece. All right, bro.
Okay, okay. All right. So, yeah, oh, I lost my chain of thoughts. Okay. So it's basically like one industry that tests your ability, not just to put pixels together or put boxes here and there and put images and make everything look nice. It tests how your skills actually convert because you can see it convert live. So it means that if you're working as an email marketing designer, you could actually have an issue if within like few months of working on a particular brand, if that brand is not converting, then you can as well just, know that your services for that particular brand has not been successful because it converts directly. But don't get me wrong, there are other factors that determine whether a design converts or an email converts or not. But one of the major factors, let me say, about 60% of it depends on the design, composition of the design, basically. So it's not exactly about how nice it looks, it's mostly about how functional it is. Okay, so when someone opens an email, are they compelled to buy something from that email within the first 5 seconds? Are they compelled to buy without even scrolling? Are they compelled to buy after scrolling? Is there something that makes them want to buy when you scroll up and scroll back down? Do they still want to buy? Or do they open the emails and just get out of the email? All right. So we're going to be looking at how exactly to design emails that actually convert. All right. So I'm going to start from scratch, but I'm going to also like be moving very fast. So please put me in check if I'm moving too fast. Right. So first of all, I want to say that before you venture into marketing designs or whatnot, I believe that every single person that wants to do this should have a fundamental or let me say basic knowledge of branding generally because these are things that are very important when you're designing emails because you're designing for specific target audience, you're designing for the specific needs of the customers of a particular brand. So you can't apply the same skill or the same way you designed a particular email for a particular brand in the food industry to an apparel brand. So you're going to have to know how to differentiate, how different people, you know, interact with these brands, how people interact with clothes, how people interact with food, how people interact with, you know, whatever product it is, basically, that's in the e-commerce space. So, yeah, those are the things we're going to be going through today. The e-commerce ecosystem, um, basically just fundamental. I think I've spoken a bit about that already. Then foundations of email design, design thinking, in emails, design, designing email flows and campaigns. These are types of emails. Then finally, before we go, we'll look into email design and AI. All right. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm also going to we'll have a session. I think by in the next how many minutes, once I'm done with this document, we're going to have a section where we are going to design together actual emails live on this call. And I would show us the touch points of conversion and how which one is bad and which one is good, which one would actually convert and which one would not convert. All right. Yeah, in the e-commerce email ecosystem, I've explained to us how email came about and how long they've been with us on our phones and before then on our computers. And now they're both on phones and computers. I'm going to be sharing this document with us after, so someone should please remind me to share that. Yeah. So basically, email marketing is a communication and retention system used by e-commerce brands or other brands basically to build customer relationship, increase sales, recover lost purchases, and encourage repeat buying. And just like I've been saying before now, the main goal is actually sales, and not just sales to retain these people that are buying. So we want to make sure that whatever it is that are being sent out is compelling enough for people to actually purchase the product, because at the end of the day, the main goal of a business is to actually sell. So you are standing in a position to aid sales. So you're not just pushing pixels up and down, you're actually aiding sales. But most of the time, if you get into a space where you want to probably um, pitch a client to render email marketing services to them, you have to fulfill of what you've done before or proof of what you're capable of doing. So it means that you need to show them how some actions of yours or your skill set is going to probably take them from a particular revenue that you already make to another level. So say there's a brand making $100,000 per month already, and you want to work with them, you need to show metrics on how your work is going to convert for them, and then they could get like a 50% increase in the next 2 to 3 months. There are actual projections happening here. So I would say that for lack of better words, it's a bit of a risky job, because if your work is not, giving results, clients could actually like back off and stop working with you. And you need to also be able to identify loopholes, because there are so many things that are not in your control as well. So you need to be able to identify these loopholes around, test if that works. These are soft skills that would help you in this industry. Yeah. So now, um, a great email design has should have about four key pillars. These are the things that guide a good strategy.
Hi, Ebenezer. You seem to be breaking. Or is it just me, guys? It could be my network, or can everyone hear even at this time?
It's hard for me to hear you. I guess it's my fault.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, bro, I think there might be a network issue, like maybe there's a lag some. You only broke up for a while though, so
Yeah, it was just for a few seconds. Just keep me out. But
okay.
can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, loud and clear, loud and clear.
Okay, good, 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 good. All right. Um, yeah, so please confirm you can still see my screen. Can we see my screen? Your entire screen should be red right now. Can we see my screen? Okay, great. All right. So I said there are four key parts of email design. Number one is strategy, user experience, branding, conversion thinking. All of this combined together would give you like the best high converting email you can think of. Uh, the strategy part of things um is not solely dependent on you as an email designer. It involves the people. So it involves like an account manager or a copywriter and all of that. But you need to know, you just need to be in the know of the strategies that are being put out to generate the content of what you're going to be designing. So most of the time it's very easy for someone like a copywriter to just, write up something, it sounds nice and all of that. But because of your understanding of the brand and how the brand should sound to their target audience, you can also always like, add your contribution and all of that in sessions like that to give the best result. Because if the copy is bad and the design is great, you could still have a very bad result at the end of the day. So almost all the time, I would recommend that you always have conversations with copywriters, make sure that everybody's in sync, something exactly the way the brand should sound. And when I say sound is, for instance, if a brand is very, very vocal about how they support the female movement. Maybe it's a feminine brand, for instance, and then you come and the other copy you're giving is speaking masculine, masculine. You could literally not just um, lose sales for that particular email, you could actually lose customer base for the entire brand. So these things are a bit sensitive, but they are not as complicated as it sounds. But this is just to encourage to always ensure that you're not just designing, you're getting involved in the core of other people's role. People that work with you need to make sure that you're very, very much involved in what they're doing so that it doesn't affect what you're doing as well. Then user experience, again, you're not just designing, you're designing like you're going to receive the email. For instance, for every single brand I've worked with, I subscribe to their email list so that when they push out the emails that I've designed, I receive them also and I go through them to make sure that, oh, this actually works, I can actually purchase from just reading through this. So user experience is very important. You need to design exactly like you're the one that would receive the email and then you're the one that would actually buy from this brand. And then number two is branding. Branding is super important. I would say, just like I said earlier, I would say that just have basic understanding of branding. For me, it was so much more easy and an addition for me because I was a brand designer, I'm still a brand designer initially before getting into this industry, and it made it so easy for me. I think that is probably one of the things that sets me apart currently because when I sit down in meetings with clients and we talk about their brands, there's a level at which I understand their brand so much that I hone it like it's actually my brand. So most of the time we end up having business conversations about the brand in regards to design. So they don't just see me as someone that is pushing pixels for them. They see me as someone that really understands their brands and someone that can actually they can have decision-making conversations with, this is very important because it would help consistency in what we're designing. If the brand colors are like orange and yellow, you're not going to be using blue and black, stuff like that. So it's like, just basic and fundamental principles of branding to successfully design high converting emails. And then lastly, conversion thinking. So it means that we have to always think about conversion first. So when you're having that pump to design, because you saw one design somewhere and you think it's just going to be nice for this brand you're working on, but you're getting pumped, please and please always remember that at the end of the day, how your work is going to be measured is if it actually sells. So if it does not sell and it looks nice, it's as good as bad, right? So yeah, that's that. And then for the customer journey, which you necessarily have to understand as well, is in six parts. I'm just going to brush through them. And number one part is discovery. The moment the customer actually finds the brand. The second point is okay. Hold on, let me just finish the session before I take that question. Second part is interests, where the customer, explores the product on the um platform, wherever it is that the customer found the brand, then consideration. So the customer probably starts thinking about purchasing, oh, should I buy it or should I not buy it? They probably check reviews on the website from other people that have purchased the product to see if they can purchase it as well. And then the fourth part is actually purchasing it. So yes. So after a while, after they've gotten a couple of emails, they actually buy, right? But when they buy, they need to buy again because it's very important for um the okay. So praise someone is saying to mute everyone. So can we fix that?
So sorry, is that me? I do not think so, but
I can't hear
but
anything as well, so I don't know if it's from me.
is it still sounding? Can you still hear that sound or the background
Actually,
noise?
can you confirm if
Okay,
oh you can't hear anything?
okay, let's
Okay,
try
cool,
that.
cool. All right. So yeah, like I said, after purchase, it doesn't actually end at purchase, right? There has to be a form of intention. This customer that just bought needs to come back. That is how the brand actually thrives. So the brand should thrive on the fact that their product is good enough, sounds good enough, and looks good enough for the customer to come back and purchase again, right? So that leads to the fifth part, which is retention. The brand keeps encouraging the customer to come back to purchase again. And the final stage, which is, let's call it an actualization stage for the customer or for the brand, basically, is that the customer becomes loyal to the brand. So after retention for a while, the customer actually becomes loyal. So which means that even without receiving emails, the customer still buys because they've gone through this entire cycle, and they've gotten to the point where they trust the brand so much that no communication from the brand. They trust the brand enough to stay loyal to the brand for as long as possible, no matter what. All right, that's the last stage of the customer journey. And you need to always have this at the back of your mind when you're getting into designing emails. Now, major types of e-commerce emails. I'm going to brush through them. I'm going to explain them in details when we start designing. But I'm just going to brush through them now. First one is their campaign emails. Campaign emails have so many, like countless kinds of emails under them, right? So they can be product launches. So anytime you see a new product being launched, those are campaigns. Content emails can be talking about anything. For instance, a gym wear brand, you could receive an email from a gym wear brand talking about the sweating at the gym and how irritating it can be. But their brand could probably have some sort of breathable technology that means that even if you're sweating so bad, when it gets, yeah, I mean, your outfit is not going to get so wet that you feel irritated. So they could build a story around, getting irritated at the gym, you know, all of that. So those are like content news, build stories that are relatable to the target audience, and others are like flash sales, seasonal promotions. The seasonal promotions are always like based on it can be anything, it could be spring, summer, winter, think about like Black Friday, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, as many days as you can think of. There's always a campaign from an active e-commerce brand. There's always a campaign going out for that. And then flow emails, right? Flows are automated emails that are triggered by user behavior, right? And there are different types of flow emails, right? Number one is welcome flows. So when you get on the website and you see a pop-up, mostly a pop-up that says something like get 10% off your first purchase as a first time customer and all of that, and then they ask you to fill in your email address and all of that, and you do so. What happens is that for the next couple of days, you would get a series of emails from them telling you how the brand started. If there's a story to how the brand started, how the founder discovered this, and they're trying to solve a particular problem, blah, 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 blah. You did like about five of those, still offering you that same discount. If it was a 10% discount or a 15% discount, still offering you that same discount that they offered you on the pop-up when you entered the website. So like welcome flows. We have the abandoned cart. Now the abandoned cart is you getting onto the website for the first time. You click on the product that you want to buy. You add the product to your cart, and instead of checking out, you don't actually check out. So these are automated emails that are triggered by that action. You get a series of emails telling you to come back and check out, tell you that if you forgot an item in your cart, you mostly see this a lot with them telling you that you forgot some items in your cart and compelling you to come and, check out, probably even offer you a discount. Then there's the browse abandon and the site abandonment. So I'm just going to talk more about all of this, but I'm just brushing through them. So the browse abandonment is the first time buyer that steps into the website, clicks on a particular product that they're interested in, but you've not had them to cart. So you just click on it to check it. Then you got out of the website. They will send you a series of automated emails. And they're automated because on the email platforms where they are going to be sent from, there are parts where you actually automate these emails with specific codes that would be passed now to whoever is receiving it. So you could get a welcome flow or a welcome flow email saying something like, "Hello, Rosemary." And you're wondering, that's because you actually filled it in when you gave in your email address. So they are specific to you. They are being sent to everybody else that how would I call it? That being sent to everybody else like you that goes into the website for the first time. I didn't purchase anything. But since they have your email address, these things are being triggered automatically on those platforms. So it's not like, oh, an email is being sent to each person individually, right? And site abandonment is getting into the website and not doing anything. So if you see this website, you want to buy something from there, you open the website and you don't even click on any products, you just got out of the website, you receive a series of emails asking you to check out the particular products. If you're interested in this product, if you're interested in that product. And the post-purchase flows. So when you actually buy from this brand, you receive a series of flow emails. They could be emails confirming your order. They could be emails thanking you for purchasing. They could be emails. Some go as far as sending you birthday emails, just to celebrate your birthday with you. There could be, there are just so many things, really. There could be cross sells where, let's say, this particular brand is known for making cornflakes, and the same brand starts making Cocoa Pops. So they send you cross-sell flows to say that, okay, now that you bought cornflakes, right? We are suggesting that you try Cocoa Pops as well because you bought from us. So we hope that you will like Cocoa Pops as well. So suggesting another product because you have purchased one product from them. All right. And then there's the win back flows. Win back is, okay, you've purchased, they've sent post purchase to you, but they've not seen you again, which is the retention part I was talking about earlier. So the wingback flows are designed to bring you back, offer you, give you discounts, talk to you about some specific things, send emails that would, just trigger you to come back and purchase again. All right. And then there are the transactional emails. Transactional emails are not entirely like, I mean, they're also automated, but they are not the same for all brands, right? Because some brands send order confirmations, some brands don't send order confirmations, some brands send shipping updates, like some brands send you details on how you can track your order. Let's say your order is going to take like what, 21 days to get delivered. So some offer like tracking systems through emails for password resets, all of those things, just to deliver important customer information. Right? That's what transactional emails are. All right. I think it's awfully quiet here. So I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to call names. So what I've explained now, if you get into a website for the first time and you click on a product, but you don't add it to your cart and you leave the website, what kind of flow email are you going to receive? Anybody? Anybody want to try before I call names?
Please, can you repeat the question?
All right, so you get into a website for the first time, and okay, first of all, testimony is raising his hand. Do you want to answer that? Testimony.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, thank you. So, I want to ask a question. You just question. So I will say the kind of email I will get is slow email. Since you said when you explain about automated email, like they are usually triggered by our behaviors as users.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
I see
but
an
what kind of
abandoned cart,
flow email? So I understand that there are flow emails, but what kind?
okay, is an abandoned cart.
No, so you did. Okay, wait. You said
Yes,
abandoned
yes,
carts, right?
yes.
No. So I said that. Let me repeat it. So you get into the website for the first time. You click on the product, but you don't add it to your cart, and you leave the website. So which flow is that going to be? Anybody?
Sorry, can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead, go
It should be sites abandoned.
No. Who else?
Okay.
Who else? Anybody else?
From my own perspective, I think it's going to be browser abandonment. Why? Because
Exactly.
you're already browsing through, the items on the particular website, and you
Yeah,
left the place after. Yeah. So
correct. So it's browse abandonment. So it means that you browsed that product, but you did not add it to your cart. For testimony, abandoned cart is when you actually add it to your cart. So you clicked on it, you added it to your cart, but you didn't check out, you didn't purchase it, you didn't get to the final stage of purchase. That is when you receive abandoned carts. So technically, you could receive the flow can be that you could receive welcome flows, then you click on the product and you still don't buy it. You receive browse abandonment. Then you eventually now add a product to your cart and you still did not pay. You receive abandoned cart, right? And then when you eventually pay, you receive post-purchase flows. Uh, I know it sounds confusing, but we're going to get it when I get on the designs properly. We are almost done with this session. So yeah, anybody wants to say something? Can I go ahead?
They they through from bathroom.
Sorry, someone said
Can
something.
people mute themselves or can you mute everybody? Somebody's TV radio
Oh,
noise.
okay. Yeah. All right. So moving on, foundations of email design. All right. So this is just mostly theory, but there are just some important part of this that I want to talk about. Um, that is think about emails as as mini websites, right? The kind of structure that they have is like a mini website. The website has a hero session, the first part of the website that you see when you click on the website. And this hero session has a call to action, link, or button telling you to do something, mostly compelling you to purchase or buy something. The same applies to emails, right? You open an email, there has to be something that compels you to buy. You can't design a full email with a full story and all of that. And there's no link, there's no um call to action button telling you to actually purchase or take a particular action, right? So one of the key things that you need to put into consideration, at least for fun, I mean for foundational knowledge, is visual hierarchy. So you need to know what comes first, what comes before what should have emphasis. All right. So when you're, let's say, designing for um a carbonated drink brand, for instance, right? What are the things you call out, right? Depends on the target audience, for instance. Let's say the target audience is between the ages of 18 to 30, for instance. What are the things you call out? So when someone sends you, the copywriter sends you copy to design this email, and the header section or the headline says something like um never get thirsty anymore with so brand. I don't want to call common brand, so never get tested with so brand, for instance. What are you going to call out in that? Are you going to call out never get tested? Would you catch attention when someone opens the email for the first time? You could use colors or whatever it is you want to use to lay emphasis on never get tested so much that when someone opens the email, the first thing that catches their attention is never get tested. All right, so all these things, they sound like they are not so important, but these are like the basis of what you're going to be designing. So you're not just going to jump, copy the text and just put it on your design, and that's the end. You need to make it come alive literally. So you need to put emphasis on some of the text. You need to where you put your action buttons are very important, because think about it as someone actually having an interaction with your email. So you're communicating, the email is communicating from you, you're feeling seen, you're feeling heard, and then it's making you do something, it's making you take an action. Oh, now this brand says never get thirsty, and you're so excited by the way it was said to you, and then now you can't stop thinking about buying that particular drink. So the next thing is for you to just click on that button and place an order for the drink. You know, still visual hierarchy is very important. What comes before what? What should come first? What should they see first? Should they see after the other session? What should they see before they click on the button? Right. Then you need to also, number two is mobile first. Always make sure that you're thinking about mobile first, because more than 70% of the emails that are being sent out are being read on the phone. Most people don't read emails on that laptops, right? And for those that are actually reading emails on their laptops, it's mostly about work, right? For people that work in corporate organizations and all of that. So, but for promotional stuff, I don't think most people are actually like open promotional emails their laptops. But it's much more easier when you get a notification via your email and you just open it on your phone. So 70% of target audience open emails on their phone. So you need to make sure that your design is optimized for the phone. All right. Think about your design being optimized for the phone, not just for desktop, because if it's too big on desktop and it looks very tiny and it's not readable on phone, then again, unsuccessful. All right. So moving on very fast. Our time is fast spent. Design thinking in emails, right? So there are a few things that are very important when you're thinking about designing for e-commerce brands. So um first of all, I need to say that successful email designers think about user behavior first. So they think about how people interact with these designs first. Then they think about the brand consistency and the brand identity. Okay, they want to maintain a particular um way that the brand is being perceived already. Let me just say that one of the craziest thing that can actually happen while you're designing emails for a particular brand is that if you switch outside what that brand is known for in terms of color, in terms of typography, in terms of tone, if you switch from it a little bit, it could actually affect sales. For instance, there's a research that has shown that people tend to go and check out um, a brand's website before actually purchasing via email. So let's say, um, okay, there's a brand on this page, for instance. There's this brand called Quickish, right? Quickish, what they do is they make jollof paste, right? And the primary colors are red, yellow. Yeah, I think it's red and yellow mostly. So imagine designing for this brand that has red and yellow prominent on their websites, and you design for this brand and you use um you use is Victoria, can you mute your mic? So imagine you're designing for this brand and you use Oh God, why is color failing today? Use blue and yellow, for instance, instead of Chris. Can you mute this person, please? Okay. All right. So imagine designing for this brand instead of using red and yellow, you use blue and black, for instance, and then the font is not consistent, all of that. If a user was to receive that email, they would think of it as a scam. Like maybe there's a particular person trying to impersonate that brand and all of that. So there was a research that showed that people tend to not purchase from a particular brand just because of lack of brand consistency. So you need to make sure that some things are very consistent with the brand. Colors that are consistent with the brand and the website, you need to make sure to follow that typography, messaging, image styles as well, layout, structure, all of those things. Call to action styles. You need to make sure that they're consistent because at the end of the day, again, you need to think of yourself as a user, someone that is receiving that email as well. So it's safe to say that a lot of thinking has to go into designing emails for e-commerce brands because you could literally lose the brand could lose everything just from a mistake that you made. And yeah, so just a few questions you always have to ask yourself while you're designing to make sure that you're in tune with what you're doing. You need to understand the user's intent. Why did the user open a particular email? Why should the user open a particular email? What are they expecting to see on the other end? What action should feel easiest for them to take, right? And you also have to design this with purpose. Like, why does this brand exist? Like what I'm doing, how I'm designing this, does it improve clarity for the user? Does it support conversion? Does it reduce friction? Not that a a carbonated drink brand will be talking about alcohol or say what can I think of? Say an active wear brand, a gym wear brand is talking about um you know casual wears and all of that. These are frictions that can happen, in messaging. And this is why I said earlier that you need to always check with the copywriter. I've met people that do both copywriting and email design at the same time, but I don't do that. So forgive me, I'm not going to speak from that aspect, right? But if you're going to be collaborating with the copywriter, you need to make sure that you guys are in line because they can make mistakes and it could also cost you how your work would turn out. So yeah. And a few examples here is this email from Body Good Studio. And just look at the header. It says is body good what it? And there's an image of a chubby woman. So Body Good is a brand that uses medical um, medications, like actual licensed medications for weight loss, and they run weight loss programs as well. And most people are always very skeptical about using certain medication for weight loss. Some people say just go natural, just lose your weight by going to the gym and all that. But the actual licensed medications that can help your weight loss journey as well. So because of that, confusion, right? This brand stands at this intersection where they are always like having to convince their customers that it is safe to use their products. If you look at the second, these are their products, they have supplements and all that. So they need to always preach that it is safe, you know, to use their products. And most of it, when I was working at this brand particularly, most of the messaging was directed towards um confidence, regaining confidence for women, especially after, childbirth and all of that. So the, most of the messaging was around regaining confidence. And that was very relatable to a lot of women, and yeah. The brand is doing so well today just because of that. You know. And so in design wise, imagine this brand that is very heavy on messaging because this is what these women want to read. Imagine if this brand was throwing design elements all around and is so busy. The Because the client base or the target audience would not be able to conveniently read or be convinced enough to actually like purchase from them. So the design had to be very simple and straightforward because it's the messaging that mattered, and that worked for them. That was a good strategy. You know. So yeah, moving on. Okay, flows and campaigns, like I said before, um, the welcome flows, especially always have like founder stories, how the founder started the brand. They were probably trying to solve a problem for themselves and they started a business from that. Surprisingly, stories like that are always very relatable, right? So this flows always involves stuff like that. Yeah, and a few examples are right here on the screen. This is for a jewelry brand for men, and this is the cookies that we mentioned earlier, talked about earlier. Then for the other kinds of flow, the abandoned cart flow, so post-purchase, the site abandonment, the browser abandonment. Um, these are few samples of them, right? The first one here is last call, your cat is about to expire. So this is definitely an abandoned cat email, right? This person added the product to the cart and they just didn't purchase it. So they will get the email here, you know, talking about the product that is left in the cart. So it says last call to, check your cart that is about to expire, and they're telling you that this cart is going to expire in the next 24 hours, but they're offering you 10% discount for you to purchase the brand or get out of the cart. All right. Then the next one here is for a fashion brand. Time to grab some new fits, something stopped you. Okay. Something stopped you, it's still there and we'll gladly ship it to you. So this is a browse abandonment flow, right? So the person clicked on a particular product and did not add it to cart. So they're reminding the person that, oh, you stopped by on our website and you clicked on this product. And they would actually show you the products you clicked on, right? So this space that says product image only is a particular space that you can leave while creating these automated emails, because on the platform where you're going to upload them, like Klaviyo, like MailChimp and the rest, but mostly Klaviyo for e-commerce brands, there are actual codes that you can put here that would automatically put that same product that you clicked on here in this part, and they will show you the product that you clicked on and you did add to the cart. So this is reminding the user to, you know, add it to the cart and complete the purchase. Then, excuse me. Then this preparing your order, this is definitely post-purchase. The last one here is a post-purchase flow. This is after the customer has purchased the product and sending them, giving us, they're also giving shipping details. Yeah, shipping takes up to 5 days. You can view your order and so on and so forth. All right. Next, our campaign emails. Like I said before, campaign emails always tell a story and relatable stories. They're also giving massive, they use campaign emails to give you massive discounts, right? For different stages. I'm just zooming here, right? So these are some of the brands I've worked with over the years. Um, this particular brand is a backpack brand. They had a very specific backpack that was very popular. I was making sales, but they decided to make other backpacks and they were trying to introduce those backpacks to their already existing customers. So they made the level and the Sita brand, right, the level and the Sita backpack. Sorry. And here, just like I said, flash sales and massive sales. Here, this is a active gym wear brand, right? And they're running, this is actually very recent, Memorial Day sales, right? And they're running 70% off all the products on their website, you know. It's like I said, email design, very practical. You see everything go live. All right. This is another one from Quickish. So, Quickish was away for a while. By the time as at the time they sent out this email, they were away for a while, and people could not place orders. And when they had their products back in stock, they had to send out an email, you know, to let them know, let their customers know, they're back in business. All right. Um, yeah, this last one is from a detergent sheet brand. They've been selling detergent sheets. It's actually like a paper, but it's detergent. So you just take one sheet out of the pack, put it in your washing machine, and then it does the rest. So they were selling um um the detergent sheets for a while, and then they decided to switch up and make other products that is similar to what they already do. And this one is for cleaning floors. So they introduced this brand, and yeah, just like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. And here we have samples of you know, emails, campaigns, flows, all of that. You know, these are so for every single work you've seen on this presentation so far, there are brands that I've worked with, they are all original work from me. All right. So this is also to show you guys that it's super possible to build something, build a full career from this industry, you know, and yeah, still samples there. And yeah, so finally, the last part before we design, email design and AI. And I'm always very careful to talk about AI these days because I was talking to the host earlier today that I had someone that I was, training at some point, and I was trying to introduce them to, use AI effectively. And this person ended up bringing a fully designed work from ChatGPT to me. Didn't even touch anything, just use ChatGPT to design the whole thing. And it was very disheartening for me because the idea of you using AI as a designer is not for you to use it to replace your skills. It's for you to use it to help you work better, to help you work faster. Places where you miss out on details, you can use AI to like just, check through and then fix them. So mostly in email marketing, you can use AI ChatGPT for instance. ChatGPT is actually very effective with um running like a brand um background check on whatever clients that you're working on, even suggest certain strategies that you can use, strategies that you probably missed out on, right? And for Claude, if you know how Claude works, or if you don't know how Claude works, Claude gives like very, very in-depth knowledge on the things that you're working on. So you can just always use these tools to like make sure that you're in sync with what is required from the brand, not for these tools to design for you from ground zero to 100, you know. And there's a few AI tools that you can use for image generation. Most of the time when you're working on e-commerce brands, most e-commerce brands, or let me say most serious e-commerce brands, always have like image banks, like folders that they can always send to you for their imagery and all of that. Or some brands have proper brand guidelines, but for some other brands, they don't. And it doesn't stop your work because you have these tools. Snappy Hits is very, very great for image generation for any brand actually. And you can also use Instant AI, but most of these brands are paid for, so you should always have that at the back of your mind. And when you're using them as well, you can always like um I don't think there should be any issue with paying for something that would enhance your work, right? I personally use ChatGPT a lot for image generation, and part of this I'm going to show us how I generate amazing images with ChatGPT that look very, very good. And here are some examples of images that I generated for some of these brands before. Right. Again, let me just so very realistic. And they're just specific things. I mean, like you need to know how to prompt a lot. Right? And there are specific details that you always need when you're prompting, especially for brands, e-commerce brands that you're working on. You're going to have details on camera angles, on so many things, But the good news is that you can always use AI to prompt AI. You don't necessarily have to create the prompt yourself from scratch. You know what you want to do. You can get references online, then get ChatGPT to give you prompts to create something similar to that. And then you use the same prompts given by ChatGPT in full details to create your own images. And it always works. It always works. Because ChatGPT will give you, or any AI to generally will give you exactly the prompt that would make it work better for you. So you don't necessarily have to always prompt from the scratch. All right. Yeah. So basically, all of this that I've talked about are things that I'm going to be showing us in the next few minutes. So we're going to design together. I think I have two brands that we can work on together. Okay, thank God this is being recorded, so we can all just go through this after. So I'm going to stop sharing this particular um window now. But before we go ahead, do we have any question, contribution? I've been talking for a while, so you should have questions. So I'm going to take at least one question before we go ahead. If we don't have any question, we're not going to go ahead. So,
Good afternoon.
all right, who's that? Oh, Timmy, how you doing,
Uh,
bro?
yeah, thank you so much for all you've said so far. I mean, I just joined recently, and I'm actually new into the world of email marketing design and all that, right? And
All right,
I believe you shared a lot of things that I could
yeah,
actually benefit from. Now, for someone who is actually new to these things and talking about design generally, can you shed a bit of light into what the design, what like maybe platforms that have been used for this design? Are there specific websites that you make use of for these designs, or you can just make use of any platform and just whoever is going to incorporate it into the email marketing would do it.
yeah,
Well, that's also something that the person is supposed to do himself. I don't know
yeah,
if you
yeah.
get my question.
Mhm. All right, great, great, great. Okay, so I'll quickly answer that before I take testimonies on. Um, so there are different design tools that you can use. Um, I would recommend Figma because I use Figma, but Figma is not the only tool you can use to design emails, right? So you can use Figma, you can use Canva. Canva has a specific um function currently for just email designs, like the feature rather. They have a specific feature currently for just email design, so you can use Canva as well. Um, Early stage of me getting into the e-commerce industry, I actually used to use Photoshop to design emails, but um, so basically what I'm trying to say is that you can use any design tool to design emails. Absolutely any design tool, whatever design tool you can think of, even Corel, you can use it to design images. But the reason why I would recommend Figma is because of collaboration. So Figma is live, it saves your file on the cloud, and you can have people come up on your file to interact with you on your file. So they can drop comments, your clients can drop comments on your design, whatever it is they want you to change. Even, I mean, like, they don't necessarily have to get on a call with you to change anything, to correct anything. They can do it right there on Figma. So that's collaboration was one of the biggest reasons why I always suggest Figma or recommend Figma rather. And also, I mean, like, there's also a function of Figma, but I think it's for the paid plans where you can actually have calls on Figma. So you can have a call with the person that you're working with or working for on Figma. You guys can solve actual problems right there on Figma without leaving the file, right? So I would always suggest that. So yeah, like I said, any design tool, you can use absolutely any design tool as long as you know your dimensions, you know how to go about, I mean, how to use that particular tool for any form of design, then you can use that same tool for email if you can use it for any form of design. So yeah, I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. But on this call, we're going to be using Figma though. So all right, testimony.
All right. Good evening, once again. And
Good
thank you
evening.
for the set. But even though I'm a new in this new marketing design, I see
Mhm.
it catches a lot of things from all that you said, and the session was very precise and precise. I really appreciate that. Okay, so here's my question. Um, I'm actually new in this email marketing. In fact,
Okay.
I would love to say that this is my first session I'm joining that centers around email marketing design. I've been with ads, I've been an ad design designer or person,
Wait,
majorly
you've been
social
what?
media designer. Yeah, I said actually social media designer, ad
Social media.
designer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's basically what I'm doing currently. But I would also love to venture into this email marketing design and
Mhm.
probably so do you think that's a go ahead for me? Like do you think it would be a nice idea for me to venture into new marketing design? Because I've gotten quite a lot of understanding about these principles of design,
Mm.
things that encompasses design as but I don't really have idea about it. Not until now that I just answered
Yeah.
someone's question
Yeah.
relating to Instagram,
Yeah.
like my account. So I just want to let you put me through on how I can start because I would love to venture into this space because it would be a very, very competitive that. And I would also like do you also think I can measure around with this science is UI UX and email marketing? Do you think
Okay.
it's like going to so that's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So first of all, I would just say that there's really no limitation here, right? Like, I think that one of the mistakes that I've seen a lot of designers make in Nigeria, especially, is not exploring enough. Now, don't get me wrong. I also believe that you don't necessarily have to be a generalist as a designer. You can just, you know, pick up a particular part of design and just stick to it and become a pro and that. Do you understand? But I think that what that when messages like that go around, what is missing is the fact that you are actually very free to explore. You can explore as much as you want. I think you even make a better decision on which one, where you make a better decision on where you find your strength when you've actually explored. Do you understand? So I would say that explore as much as you can. Like use as much as you can. There's no limitation here. So if you go through it and you see that it comes very easy for you, you're able to understand it and you're able to actually go about it, please go for it. But you will not know that unless you explore. So generally, I'm speaking generally now, like it's good enough to explore like as much as you want to explore motion design, explore 3D rendering, explore everything possible before you can make a decision to whether pick one side or even pick more than one side, do more than two, do more than three, as much as you want. It's really personal, right? And also, do I believe that you need a form of UI, UX knowledge for email marketing? Absolutely, yes. This is what sets you aside from every other person that is doing it because the UX part of it helps you understand how the customers think, user flow. There's an actual user flow for email marketing designs, you know, just like I showed us earlier. So that is very important. Now, you don't necessarily have to go and take a course on UX or whatever. You can just, go online, read about how it affects and influences, marketing. Then the UI side of it, the user interface side of it is, think of it as anyone that can create an app for thousands and millions of people to use would actually effectively communicate and create, like, um in the same way, create something that users can always read. So an app um is good enough for people to use, right? But it can bring that same knowledge to the same, I mean, like, for the same set of people to read. So two things that emails do for me, what we for the customers. They help them see, because you're going to be showing them visually appealing stuff, and they help them read as well. But if this is what's the word? If this is embedded in UI skills, it goes a long way, because you're not just going to be designing and be throwing elements all around. And I'm saying this because um, I also had a foundational knowledge in UI UX before doing any of this. And just like I said before, some of this foundational knowledge that I had helped me work better. It set me aside a lot of times. The branding knowledge, the UI UX knowledge, everything was actually, they just came together. So you can always put those skills together to work better in this industry. Do you understand? So I would say that you should make a lot of research in your spare time. Like, just read, go on Google. There's always materials to read about it and see, convince yourself. Or let me see, just test yourself up if it's something you want to take up. You know, yeah. I hope I was able to answer that. I want us to move quickly to the design into. I hope I was able to answer your question, testimony.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for giving that powerful answers. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now I'm going to be sharing my screen again. All right. So we're going to be designing two welcome flows and one campaign email for a particular activewear brand. I've not worked for this brand before, so I decided to choose brands that I've not worked with before, so that we will both, I mean, we'll all create these things from scratch together. So you see how I think about them and how you should think about them and go about them as well. So yeah, this confirm you can see my screen now. You should be seeing dumbbells and gym wears and all that. Can you see my screen? Guys, all right, great. Okay, so first things first, right? This is the website. So just like a user, you get on this particular um brand page website, right? They're already showing you some of their best selling products. Oh, beautiful. Can you guys see this pop-up? There's a pop-up on this website right now that says ready to serve, subscribe to our newsletter, blah 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 blah. Can you see this? Anybody? Hello?
Yes,
Oh, you
yes, you
can
can.
see this, right? Okay, great. Okay, someone is texting. Yes. So this is what I was talking about earlier. This is how this brand gets your information. So they're telling you to sign up to the newsletter so you'd have first time or first hand rather information on new drops, new collections, events, and all of that that they have in the future. So usually when you put in your details here and your um email address and you click on sign me up, the call to action button, you instantly start getting welcome email flows from them, welcoming you to the community and all of that. Yeah, so we're not going to do that right now. We're canceling that. So yeah, first of all, now we've assumed that they've taken our details, right? So I'm going to be getting series of welcome flows. So we're going to design two welcome flows right now. But first things first, we need to understand this brand from the user perspective. First of all, first thing to notice here is that this brand is a feminine brand. It is for ladies, it is for women. So you're going to have to think like them, if right now, to get this done properly, right? So we've brushed through right now the homepage, and we can see that it's for ladies. This is a feminine brand, right? Now, number two thing we're going to notice is their brand color. The most prominent color around this whole place or this whole website is white, and the text are mostly in black. So we can say white and black. So because I want to believe that because it's a feminine brand as well, they try to be very simple and minimal with throwing colors around, you know. Yeah. So now we've noticed colors, right? Now we're going to click on one of these products and see how the product page looks like. Yes, so this is the product page. So if we're going to buy this product right now, by the way, remember what I mentioned about flows? Now that I've clicked on a particular product, if I don't click on, excuse me, if I don't click on add to cart right now, I'm going to get a browse abandonment flow because I browsed out this product, but I did not buy it. Right. But if I click add to cart right now, let's pick a size here and click add to cart. Yeah. So this has been added to my cart. So this is your shopping cart, blah blah blah. So normally for normal people, you're supposed to buy. So so you're normally supposed to click on the checkout securely. This is the call to action for you to check out and buy this particular um products, right? So let's click on checkout. Now it's asking for my delivery details. This is the checkout page where I'm supposed to pay. But no, I'm not paying for it, so I'm going to go back. Now I'm going to receive an abandoned cart flow in saying that I have something in my cart. If you notice on this side of the screen, the cart has one item attached to it because I actually added an item to the cart, but I didn't purchase it. So they're going to send me abandoned cart flows telling me that I have something in my cart that I still haven't checked out on, right? But that's just to practically explain what I've been saying for the past 1 hour, right? But what we want to really do here, what we're paying attention to is the way the products are presented. Design-wise, if you look at these images, they are in clean squares or rectangles. No rounded corners, just clean squares, right? That's how the brand works. Same thing here, straight and clean. They have different colors for each product. They have their colorways here. So you could have black, um, you know, orange, white. So now this is to say that when you're designing as well, you're going to have to pay attention to the fact that each product appears in different colors. So you have to find a way to interpret that in your design, right? What else? Their fonts, we want to know what fonts they're using. So this is a trick that I personally use. Not a trick per se, everybody should use this actually. I'm going to show us on how to identify the fonts that a particular brand is using. So you come here and you right click on whatever font it is, right? Just right click on it. You have an option like this on your browser. Come to inspect, click on inspect, and click on network here. You see this whole, I know it's showing a lot of code and you're probably all right. So this is just click on network. So let me do that again. So yeah. right click on any part where you have the text, right? Click on inspect, then come to the network. So you see element console sources network, blah blah blah. So click on network. Yeah. So these are a list of what's it called? The fonts that are being used on this page, this particular page. Right. So they use Helvetica New Roman. So they use Helvetica New Roman and Helvetica New Roman Italic. All right. So now you know the fonts that they used, and you can download it to use it to design for this brand. I already have this font on my laptop, so I'm not going to be downloading that. All right. Also, sometimes, right, if you need images from website like this, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes downloading the images directly from the websites, like just downloading straight up, right click and save images or download, sometimes it gives you very poor quality. So, but this is just, it's not all the time. Most of the time you get a good quality actually. But in case you don't, you can use the same trick um to get the actual source files that were uploaded to the website. So um you right click on the image, come to inspect, then see you have the image right here. Once you move your cursor around wherever it is that you right clicked on the page, you see the image right here. So you can always download from here. But in this case, they actually have the same size of the image on the home page itself, on the products page rather. So you don't necessarily have to download here. So I'm just showing you guys here. So in case you watch the recording of this class again, um, and you're wondering, I'm going to stay here for a while so that you can remember when you watch it again. Okay, moving on. So yeah, we've made quite a number of overview research about this brand. So key things that we've noticed now so far, or key things that we are aware of right now, is number one is the feminine brand. So you need to go easy on the colors. Then there's an active minimalism going on around here. The designs are not shouting, they are not clustered, they're very simple, straightforward to encourage readability, So noticed primary colors, white and black. Every other color comes in secondary or maybe accents, but it's primarily white and black. Okay. So last but not least, is to get our logo assets. By the way, this brand is called Warner Active. I'm going to be dropping some of these things and that box now. So we can click on them, check them out ourselves. So this brand is called Warner Active. So now that you made your mini brand review on this brand that you're working on, next thing you want to do is create a community Figma now. All right. Can we see my screen? You should be seeing the blank canvas right now. Please confirm you can't see. Guys, come on. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So now that you've done that mini review, we want to create like a small design system for these designs that we want to create, right? Nothing serious, just a small design system. Okay. Is just let me know if you can see my screen. So you come to this is Figma. We're on Figma right now. You click on your square icon this is a square icon here. The other different shapes you can use depending on you. As you right click on this, you have several options. We're using square, and this is just for us to create like a color system for this brand from what we've gathered from the website. So we're making use of black and white, right? Our font is a vertical line. So you click on T, you come in. Let's say let's type it away. Okay. So like I said, I already have it, so I'm just going to add it here. This is it here. Okay. So this is going to be our font, right? Um, what else did we notice from this? Okay. So let's create something. Let's just create something for colorways, right? You know, I mentioned that the products appear in different colors. So let's just put random colors here. These are not going to be any colors, but let's just put random colors here. So these are going to appear and reflect in our design. So yeah, so this is done. Now we need to get the logo of this brand from their website. So just like I showed you guys before now, right? Click on anything on the website, right? Click on this logo. Come to inspect. Right. Yeah, so this is the file here. I can see the file here. I'm just going to download it. So this is downloaded. Okay. All right, so that is downloaded. Okay. So we're just going to bring it to our Figma file. Okay. This is, yeah, this is our logo. Basically, what you're doing is you're just dropping, you know, the things that you want to do. You're just dropping them because you're going to be reusing most of these things. Yes, it's much more easier this way. Mhm. So yeah, we have this now. Now, before we started this class, I created some copies on ChatGPT for this particular brand. So I'm just going to force how I did that. And so this is it here, right? So on my screen right now was when I was prompting ChatGPT to create two welcome flows and one campaign copy for this particular brand, So now I'm giving it a few more details. Make sure to feature best sellers, products that have been sold the most or being bought the most, and other important details about the fabric used and all of that. And now, the issue here now, the reason why you're saying I can do this properly, but I can't directly verify is because ChatGPT cannot directly read a link. So most of the time you have to share more resources to help. So I had to share um screenshots of the websites, right? And it was able to create something that we're going to be using on this class right now. So these are what we'll be using to design. So yeah, the first things first. Right, so now that this is all settled, we have our small design system that we're going to be reusing, right? And we've gotten all the details we want from the website. So one last thing you're going to do, or that I would always recommend for anyone to do is not just rely on what you already know how to do. You need to check out competing brands or competitors of this particular brand, what they are doing in that industry, design wise and email marketing wise, and just use that to compare to see what you do. So let's say Warner Active. Okay, so now we are seeing few brands that are doing the same thing that this particular brand is doing. All right, so we want to check out how their email designs are. So we have Gymshark. So you can just copy this, create a new tab, Gymshark. Yeah. Okay, so come to images so you can just see as many as possible. So I'm seeing some from Email Inspire. I'm going to be sharing some of this with you. Because there's some, okay, yeah, here we go. So this is like a competitor brand, but now see the difference between this brand and One Active is that this brand is mostly specifically male dominant, right? So the reason why they have this chont big fonts that they're using, they are still very, very much minimalistic about their designs as well, but not as minimal as One Active, because that's a strictly feminine brand. So, see, now we know the kind of designs that their competitors are making. Right. Just sharing this link with our logo. I would really love for us to practice this on our own. Especially when you watch this. I just share the link as well. Um, yeah, this is Jane Sharp, right? So now another thing that you can do, right, is to check different email. There are some email inspiration websites, right, that you can always check. One of them is really good for this. This is really good email. So I'm going to be sharing this on the chat as well. These are places where you can find, feed your eyes, see what other brands are doing, you know, and you can do the same, or not do the same, obviously, not like you copy their designs, but you can take inspiration from them. Uh, okay, then there's email love. Let's see. This is email love, emaillove.com. Yeah, showing this spare chat as well. Yeah. Um, you guys must check all these websites. And I promise you, you'll actually have fun checking them because there's a whole lot to fill your eyes with. And that's another way you can build your taste as a designer. I know Bob talked about that earlier. You know, having good eye for design by always feeding your eyes. So this is another mute.com. Although there's a version of mute.com that is paid for, but don't worry. I think we have a good free side. By the way, I'm not encouraging you guys to always want free stuff. Nigerians are used to always wanting free stuff. So please, you're meant to pay for things. So. All right. Yeah. So mostly you just check this kind of platforms for inspiration. You know, there are different things you can actually check here. Um, they have different this particular email lover has different categories. Let's check fashion. First fashion here. Okay, clothing. All right. Yeah. So there are some clothing brands. You know what? Let's streamline into uh oh perfect. There's a feminine brand here that I'm aware of. So this is Third Love. Third Love is a confident and forward-thinking female, well, it's mostly female underwear shop, female underwear brand. Um, yeah, so now this is actually very perfect. You know what? I'm going to copy. So this is a very easy way for you to copy images online and put them at Figma. So just right click, copy image. So you can have references. You're not copying the designs, right? You're just having them as references. So you can have references here, add them to Figma just to help, just to feed your eyes. You know what? Let's not waste our time on just talking to link. Okay, so this is, I just wanted to show how they design. See, just like one active, super straightforward, plain. There's enough space, it's not shouting, there's not cluster anywhere. Super clean, direct as well. It's their messaging. Let's just check a few more. All right, great. So super straightforward. It's more product focused. They have a more product focused design system. They are very specific about the details on the product. So super straightforward. Let's check one more before we go ahead. Let's check this. Hey, see, very loud images, almost the same with one active. So yeah. So you can always just go around different or any of these links I've sent to you, just feed your eyes. You can search by category, you can search by brand name, you can search as much as you want. Just go ahead. So now that we have all of this done, we are going to come back to ChatGPT. Let's bring ChatGPT here. So these are the things we're going to be designing here. Okay, information. Yeah, we're going to be skipping a few things that ChatGPT gave us here because this is like lots of story. Okay, so yeah. So first of all, first things first, create a frame here. This is a frame icon of Figma. Best practice, right? Email designs should be about on the minimum 600 to 700 pixels in width. It can be as long as as possible or as you want, but like the width should not be less than 600. And I would recommend 800 pixels. So this is going to be our email Canva. So first things first, we're bringing our logo. Let me just zoom in. I'll bring in our logo to the top. Let's create a frame for this logo. So we're not pressing. So we're creating this frame. Yes. Okay. And send this here. You know what? Let's give it a switch, right? Just a little switch. We'll change this path to black. Yeah. This. So we'll name this work on in. Okay. So now back to on our website, we have more than enough images to, go around to use more than enough, more than enough. So I'm going to be using images from the website. Um, so, okay, right. So back to ChatGPT, right? First thing ChatGPT is saying that we should do is to create an header session, which is the first part that um that whoever is opening the email is going to see. So all of this is not what we need. We're starting from here. Built for women with purpose. So remember, this is a feminine brand and they're encouraging confidence mostly. For this is actually like a brand that encourages confidence a lot. Like it's mostly for women to not be ashamed of working out or getting back in shape or keeping fit or whatnot. So yeah. So this is going to be what we use for our session. It's for women who move with purpose, right? So now, first things first that we're going to do is we're going to create like a form of low fidelity um wireframe for this design. And I encourage this a lot of times because sometimes you might think that you know exactly what you want to do in your head, and then by the time you get on Figma or whatever tool you're using to design, you just realize that oh, it's not going to really work the way it was appearing, to you. So we're going to play around with boxes at first, then we'll replace the boxes with images as time goes on. Right. So this is going to be where our header image is going to be. So we're bringing it in. Now remember, when we check the website for images, they don't have rounded edges. There's very sharp squares and rectangles and all of that. So we're doing the same here. We're going to make sure that our product images have very, very sharp, not rounded edges like this. No, this is off-brand already. So I'm gonna take that back. Okay, great. Super. So now let's extend this up. Yeah. So now for our first text, going to be using a vertical font, right? So come back to ChatGPT here. Beautiful women with purpose. It's too big. Sorry, guys. Okay, guys, please let me know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Don't get tired now. Please drop in the chat box if you can still hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm saying a question here. Children brands you work with pay for this is, well, it depends on what contract you have with them, right? Or some people they would rather like just tell the brand that they use a particular tool and the brand should pay for it. Some brands actually even pay for you to use Figma for them, right? But it depends on what your work ethic is. I pay for most of these tools that I use, so I infuse it in my pricing. I don't necessarily have to tell them getting I'm paying for it too for so amounts, but when I have to price, I price for the use of these tools as well. Do you understand? So it's a win-win for me, it's a win-win for the clients as well, because it makes their work easy, it makes their work good as well. So yeah. So back to it, we have this we're gonna make this black. think this is too big, so let me take it down. It's okay. Now back to ChatGPT. There's a whole story here. One hour was created for women. We train hard, blah 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 blah. So we're just going to take just a tiny bit of this because this is quite a lot of story to have at the other section of your design. So now our other text, we're going to leave it at 50 here. So now we're going to make the body text, let's say 28. It's 28 to work. It's 25. Okay. Let's do 25. So um this is you want to give it a little bit space. Remember that this is a feminine brand that is big on, space and all of that. Because they want it to be readable for their customers. Okay. Okay. All right. So next section, the one difference. Okay. One difference. So here you're going to they want to mostly talk about how they're different from other brands and what sets them aside. Um, so okay, so here, uh, let me. So again, just always make sure that you're reading through everything that you're using. Okay, so promotion and plugins. Yeah, you know what? Let's keep this part and use this one instead. Featured fabric session because I'm seeing something that I want to show us here. Featured fabric session. Oh no. Okay, fabric technology. Let's use this. Again, this is why it's very important for you to read. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to have another image here. Don't forget we are not adding actual images yet. So we want to, you know, we want to create like a part where we can actually describe these features of the fabric. So this base is soft motion, explaining how soft the fabric is, how it helps in lifting, and how it helps hair movement. So there are different ways you can do this based on your design discretion, right? Well, this is how I'm going to do it, or this is how I would do it. There are several ways I can do it, but go about it, but this is how I want to go about it. So this is going to be a full image, but we're going to have arrows like this. Yeah. So make this a dash arrow, right? Um, so, so, okay. Now we're going to have our text under it. So basically what we want to do with this is um show this emphasize do some emphasis on what the fabric is made of. Some ultra soft, blah 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 blah. Well, you don't necessarily have to worry about yourself, except if you're a copywriter or you have interest in copywriting. What we are doing with ChatGPT, you don't necessarily have to do that in terms of copy. right? So yeah, let's make this instead of 25, let's make this 20, but it's still readable. All right. So let's increase this a bit. Okay. Let's let's duplicate this um down. Okay. Then we'll have one here. Okay. 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 So this is how we are going about this particular session. This particular session again is speaking mostly about features of the products. All right. So those arrows are meant to like, just raise this visual direction, so to say, like just show them what to look out for when they actually purchase this product. So they're going to be looking out for the softness of the brand, of the product, how it helps them lift, how it helps them run and jump easily without feeling, how it's not heavy on their skin. That's what this session is about. Okay. Okay, so this session is done. Okay, so now bestseller session, right? This is where products, you're going to display some of the products that they have, right? So the what's it called? Um ChatGPT is suggesting these three best-selling products. So we're going to search for them on the website. So you just let's search for this particular product on the website. So this is yeah, right. So you know what? We're going to create about four of these. So let's create like a product session for four of these. Then duplicate this again. Okay. Now I want to have four equal smaller boxes that are going to have images. These are going to be like a product section. Okay. Right. Okay. Great, 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 great. So now we're going to have text here.
Check now, is it to play?
All right, please can we mute that person? Okay, all right, guys. We're almost there. Don't worry. It looks like it doesn't look like it's yet, right? But we are almost there. Okay. Let's leave this detail out. Okay. Now the product description. We're just going to add a tiny product description. All right. So we're going to have a tiny call to action, not the main call to action. So we're going to have shop now, but with an underline to separate it from yeah, something like this to make it stand out from every part of this session. Okay, perfect. Let's give some space here. Okay, I want to bring this together a bit. Okay, right. Okay, now we'll duplicate the same thing because we are doing this for 4 products. Don't forget. Okay, then last part of this email is going to be the community session. We're going to have something like this. Duplicate this image again. See why it's good to create something like this at first so that you can see everything you're doing before actually adding images. And like adding images from scratch can just mess a lot of things up for you. So you want to do something like this more than to let's duplicate this. Our small storyline there. Okay. Okay. And the last part, last but not least, before our call to action, find your feet. Says find your feet. All right. So now coming back to the website, right? This is our call for action. So we want to create something like this. Even though their images have like very sharp edges, their call to action is actually have rounded edges. So we want to make sure that we maintain something like that. So we're going to create something. We're going to make it black according to the website. Now you come here. This is your corner areas here. And you make this as much as you want according to the website. Okay. So our call to action is going to be shop bestsellers. This is where you want them to make purchase and to encourage them to make a purchase. So usually when they click on this, it should take them to where they can view these products on the website. All right. So so there we have it. There's something missing here, just like I said before when we started this call, that how do you, the hierarchy of the things you put on your design will determine if they would actually buy or not. Now, when the user scrolls through this design, for instance, there's nothing that tells them to buy anything here. Yes, it's a welcome email and you want to tell them the story at first, but it won't do any harm, you know, giving them an action point around here. Because usually when they open the email, this is the first thing they see. First thing they see is built for women who move with purpose, right? So it is until they get to this part before they can actually click on something to buy, right? And then this part, which most people will most likely not even get to this part, right? So you want to make sure that is call to action button at the top. So let's have that at the center here. where it's very visible. So you see where UX comes in. This is where user thinking, applies a lot. So now, when the person opens the email, beautiful no purpose, shop bestsellers. So even if they scroll down to this point and don't continue to this point, if they scroll down here and go back up here, they can still click on this. For some brands put a call to action after every single section. So there's a call to action here, there's another call to action here, there's another call to action here, there's another. Do you understand? Just to make sure that the person is being compelled aggressively to buy. But we don't need to do that here. This is enough. You know. So let's complete this part. All right. And let's have self-promotion I used. Okay. Self-promotion I used. Um, I'm trying to speed up a bit so we can cover what I have to cover. This is quite a lot of stuff. We're going to go to seconds. Okay, please confirm you can still hear me. Please confirm you can still hear me, guys. Let's move very fast. Can you still hear me? Guys, or okay, great, great. Thank you. All right. Don't worry, I'm going to get questions very soon. Okay. Yeah. So just uh, a little detail of the product. Okay, so let's add one more from the website. Okay. Let's just look for the popular. Looking for one that has a lot of colorways. Okay. This one has a lot of colorways. Has a lot of details. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. What's it though? Okay, this is it here. You don't need this detail. Okay, okay, okay. Beautiful. So here we have. Oh, so this is what your design is going to look like without images yet. All right. So I'm going to duplicate this and now start adding images. So we're going to add images together. All right. So we see how it comes to life. One more thing before we duplicate. For this particular product, for some of this product, they actually have different colorways, like you said here. So we're going to find a way to add those. Okay, let's make this all right. But no, I don't want to waste time on this. Okay, so we want to just show that um this particular product has different colors. So we're going to find a way to put this somewhere. This is okay. Okay. Let's make it a bit small. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see how effective that is when we have images now. So we're going to duplicate this. Okay. Now we're going to be copying images from the the website. Okay. First come. You can literally pick images from anywhere. So let's have something like uh, see how this works. Okay. Now we are beginning to see the contrast, right? When we're doing this without images, we use black here, but now we are seeing the contrast. So we need to change this to white. So it's visible. This is perfect. So we're going to change this as well so that it's very visible. So we're going to make this white and make the text in it black. Right, guys? So you can decide to take this a bit up, depending on you, depending on what you want. But I think this works. And you can decide to use it to fill the entire space like this. Again, you start having these options of exploring when you've done something like this at first and you didn't just jump into it. You've done something like this at first and now you're filling it up, right? So now we want to show um these details of the product, right? So we need a particular picture that shows details of this product, right? So let's look around together. Okay. Well, we need places where there are like serious details, and this is a very beautiful brand, by the way. They have proper images of their products. So it makes so many senses. Some brands don't have they don't have images, so you have to like go through a lot to get images from them. And that's where AI comes in sometimes, you know. Okay, I'm seeing a very big. Okay, so we'll use something like this. Let's use this. Let's see how this works. Mm, okay, okay. All right. So again, we're going to change all of this to white. So let's change that to white and see how that looks. Come on, guys. We're creating magic here. We are literally creating magic here. So we want to make sure that this is touching a part of the product, because you're trying to show them that. So let's take this a bit back. Okay, perfect. Location like this. And let's reduce the roots. Even this one is too long. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay. Okay, now we're getting there. We're getting there. You know what? Let's experiment with another image. Don't let us settle with the first image we got. So let's experiment with another. Let's try this one. So, okay. So these are some of the things that you kind of like have to do. You have to like test around, you know, to see if it works better. Uh, just, I mean, again, this is based on your discretion. So there's no right and wrong here. And if you have good taste for design, it's good, and at the same time, it can cost you something because I'm having that issue right now. We've had some good images, but now I'm looking for better images around. So, let's just see for something that is nice. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's take this down. So again, make sure the arrow is touching the product. Okay. All right, this is perfect. So now we want to add our product images. Let's move pretty fast. Right. So this is the first one you have. Let's just use this to come here. Again, I think I was moving faster. You copy images here and just right click on any image and you can copy it. Come to film, just Ctrl V or Command V, depending if you're using Windows or laptop, and you're good. So Figma, this is one of the good sides of Figma as well. It has a lot of responsiveness, right? So we have another here. For contrast, let's try red or color copy image. Copy. Okay. Now, same thing here. My cat is still at the NL. I'm going to be getting a lot of emails from these guys. Oh, I didn't have my email. Okay, I'm safe. I'm safe. Okay, let's try a different color. Okay, so last but not the least. All right. So any of this works, right? So let's just pick any one random. So remember that this particular product, okay, this is where I wanted to get to. So this particular product appears in different colors, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this so that I can pick those colors on Figma. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. Whatever you don't understand, we can talk about it once I'm done. All right. So you want to pick these colors because these are the actual colors that are available for this product. So just click on high on your keyboard and you'd have this so you can pick colors with this. So these are the actual colors that are available, right? Maybe let's reduce it a bit. You know what? Just for it to pop a bit, let's add some outline to it. Make the outline white. Okay, this was okay. Now for this part, we need like an engaging image, right? Not just a image, like something like this, like a lifestyle kind of image. So let's try this. Oh no. Okay. Well, I can't copy the image of. Okay, let's look for something else. Let's have something like this. Oh, yeah. Let's try another one. Okay. Well, works. Let me see if there's any other one. You know what? This is a more forward-thinking image because it has this community idea around it. If you can see this image, this is why it's good to like always check, you know, as you can see, what they were trying to achieve with this image. From what I can see here is this, there's this inclusion they're trying to preach. So every woman with every kind of body type you can think of is in this single image. This is to encourage that anybody can actually wear their products. So there's an actual pregnant woman here, right? So as a matter of fact, if you ask me, this image also really works for the header image here because it's just forward thinking. Like if you see this, the pregnant woman can relate, anybody with anybody type can relate, and that's it. So we're going to use this for this lower part more than active wear, trying to preach, um, trying to preach this sense of community, right? And there we go, guys. Let me take this away from there. All right. This is our design here. So let's go through this user journey together. So you open this email for the first time. Beautiful women who move with purpose. So a power woman, a corporate woman, someone, a woman that's going in for, ambition and trying to get the best out of life. This relates to them instantly. And funny enough, it's just for them to sell this active wear, but they found a way to connect it to um ambition, confidence, all of those things. So this tends to drive um it drives how their target audience view their brand. So this as a headline is so catching. It's very catching, especially for s- people that can relate to stuff like so. These for women who move with purpose. Scroll down, read a bit, and now this part is explaining the fabrics and how much intentionality they put into um the fabrics that they use for their product. So I mean, this is just great. Because now you're reading how it's ultra soft, lightweight, and all of that. You're reading how it supports seamless construction with contours, enhancing compression, blah, blah, blah. And even if you don't go past this point and you scroll back, you have a call to action and you click on this and it takes you here, the bestseller page, right? And let's say you scroll beyond that, and trust me, you most likely scroll below this because the moment you see the community favorite, so they are not just preaching this product to you, they're preaching that a lot of people have bought this product. Other people have bought this product. So now they're seeing what other people have bought. They're suggesting this to you. So you're a first time buyer, and they're suggesting that you should get this first. You should get this first. You should get this. You should get this first. So even if the user does not go back here, the user can click shop now here, can click shop now here, can click shop now here, can click shop now here. Can decide to buy all four or can decide to buy just one, depending. And they scroll down to see this inclusive picture, just like I said. This is just going to get the user very emotional at this point. So if the user had doubts that this was going to be a good fit for them, now they can see all in just one image that whatever body type they have, this is going to be a great fit for them. And the last part, shop best selling. But I can bet with you that for this email, this is going to get the most clicks, right? And this will get the most clicks next, and this will get the least clicks. So if there was no call to action here, this email might fail. It just makes sense. So this is where I take questions. I have been talking, guys. Submitted. What do you guys think, first of all? Let's talk about this. What do you guys think?
Good evening, sir. I think
Yes, sir.
this has actually been wonderful. I mean, you've been able to come up with this within a short time frame. Not knowing what you wanted to do before, but based on the
Yeah.
websites that you looked at, you were able to come up with something really unique. So yeah, uh, although like I said, I'm new to this, and
Yeah.
but based on what you said that this is the email marketing design and all that, me looking at this already is already having a feel of the website. So I'm just trying to understand, is that are we trying to bring in that feeling into email so that when people receive an email,
Yeah.
it looks as though they are browsing through the internet and all of it. So
Yeah,
I think I would love that
exactly.
clarification. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the actual idea. So when I started, I mentioned that um I I would rather say that email design is more like designing a mini website because like it has almost all the components of a website. So which is why um a brand that is trying to get email marketing out has to have a website. There has to be an endpoint to what to the actions that you're going to be making this target audience take via email, right? So if the endpoint is the website, for instance, if they click on best sellers and it takes them to the website for them to shop from the website, then the emails should look similar to the website. So you can think of it as a mini website, honestly, because it needs to have the same feel, the same feeling. Because if I click on bestseller, for instance, let's say that, let me do something. Now let me mess this up with different colors. Let's have colors playing around. Let's have this as right. Let's make this darker. Right. If you were to send out this particular email, you see click on, I mean, you see this email, you see this email, click on best shop best sellers, and this is where it takes you to. There's a disconnect since you understand. So like it has to look similar to this. Because first of all, you most likely have limited people that will click on this when they're already aware of this website. Let's say the customer clicked on has seen the website before and then they received an email from this brand and this is what they're seeing. They will most likely not click on it because they'll think it's a scam because it looks nothing like this. So I'm using this to explain to you that because of the dependence of emails on websites, you can actually think of it as a mini website. Or let's say it's a sub website that leads you to the actual website. Do you understand? So it has almost the same structure, the same layout, the same um, design style to get, but they serve different purposes. An email is definitely not a website, but an email can be the brand's website. You're right. I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you very much. One more question, please. So
Right.
after being done with this design, I understand that let's give a scenario by such email is being sent to someone, and you
Mhm.
know that you have to be able to click on certain buttons. All right. So how do you go about that? Is it that it's been handed off to another person to do that part,
Yeah.
or it's something
Yeah.
you also do as well?
Yeah. So it's mostly handed over to someone else. We mostly call that person. Like I said, you can't do marketing alone. Like you can't do it as one person. I mean, you can know all these things and function in those offices depending on you can understand, but like it's meant for different people. So there's a copywriter involved in email marketing, there's a designer involved, which is what we're doing right now. There's an account manager involved. An account manager is the one that like um goes about the strategy and operational part of having this sent out to the right set of people. So there are now platforms that they use to send out these emails. For e-commerce brands, brands mostly use Klaviyo. Let me drop that in the chat right now. So you can make research on this. Brands mostly use Klaviyo. This is actually someone else's entire job. I have a friend that all he does is a Klaviyo specialist. So when the design is done, when the copy is done, they bring it to him. He's the one that breaks it down. So there's a way you can export this. You can export it in different ways. You can break it down into, you can export it as different parts. For instance, you can export just this entire part, just this first part, right? Export this part separately, export this part separately, export this part separately. If you use MailChimp, if you've used MailChimp before, you understand the thing I'm saying. So you can actually upload these things as images. They're going to be uploaded as separate images, but they're going to be stacked above each other. So it's going to appear as a single email. For some brands prefer that we use HTML and CSS codes for this. So there's a function on Figma where you can convert all of this to HTML code and it will appear like that on these platforms that they use to send. So these platforms are used to send out and manage um, these e-commerce brands. They are used to send out the emails in batch. So you can have about 3,000 people on your email list. It will be there on the Klaviyo or MailChimp or whatever platform you're using. It's going to be there. You're going to be seeing this. You can even decide to segment, have different segments for that list. So if you have a general, excuse me, you have a general email list of 2,000 people, you can have different segments of where you separate them into 1,000 each. To understand. So 1,000 people receive a certain set of emails, 1,000 people receive a certain set of emails. You can have that. All of that is an account manager's job. I've done some part of that before, actually, right? But if we say we want to go into that, that's going to take more than a 3 hours crash course to understand. But yeah, you can check out Clearview. I'm hoping that we might actually have another session like this. Depends on the host, where I can actually show us how these emails are being uploaded and how they are being sent out on Clearview and other platforms as think of. So yeah. I hope I was able to answer your question, Timmy. Was that Timmy?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes,
Okay.
yes, that was me.
All right, great. Okay. Testimony.
Awesome. Yeah. Good evening. Thank you so much for this session again. In fact, um, without gainsay, I really enjoyed this session. To be honest, I really enjoyed it. And
Okay.
finding out that you've answered most of my question. I think
Oh,
Tim was in the spirit when he was asking those questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my
uh,
question was actually part of where do we have to insert code, because I'm so aware that do we have to add codes to, I
mhm.
think, to the end of those images,
Yeah.
especially the action buttons where you have to click on it and then it will direct
Mhm.
you to the website and all of those
Mhm.
things. So
Mhm.
so I've actually understood that. But I just want to ask another question that for this email marketing design now, is it possible for one person to actually manage all of those roles that you just mentioned, the accounting management, the HTML expert, the Klaviyo expert that you mentioned? So is it possible for just one person to do all of that?
Okay, I'll answer that by answering it the same way I answered the other question you asked me. That, trust me, there's no limit. You can explore as much as you want. Um, I would say that for effectiveness, it would be good to not handle everything. Do you understand? Because another thing that I feel like I didn't really mention is the fact that for existing brands and brands that have been doing quite some numbers, right? They always send out a lot of emails. So in a month, you could be looking at a brand sending out about like 30 emails, depending on how big they are. because they will have different segments of people that they're sending emails to. Some brands send up to 40 per month. So imagine one person designing, writing copy for 40 emails for one brand and still managing the Klaviyo part of things. That's going to be a lot of work, trust me, because if that person now happens to be working with about 3 brands or 4 brands, that's I can't guarantee that the person is going to be okay in 1 month or 2 months, So for effectiveness, it's good to just work with people. You don't necessarily even have to enforce the brand or the client to get these people. You can get those people. So you can take the project considering the fact that you're going to need hands like copywriters. You can communicate that as well. You can just get these people you can hire on contract basis. They are experts at copywriter, experts clearly specialists. Tell them to come work with you on that particular project, and everybody it's a win for everybody. But is it possible for one person to do all? Yes, but it's supposed to be an agency's work or an organization's work. Like the way I run an agency, for instance, I have people that do these things as well. They're all on contract basis right now. Nobody's hired full time, but as the work comes, get them to get, everybody knows what to do already. And we're happy rather than have one person do all of that. I know how to use Klaviyo very well. I know how to manage Klaviyo very well. And as a matter of fact, there was a brand I worked with last year that I was designing and managing Klaviyo for them as well. But I wasn't writing copy. They had a copywriter. So it just depends. But as at that time, I had the bandwidth, I had the time. But after a few months, I knew I could not continue like that. So I had to even get someone to help me work on Klaviyo. Not that I don't know how to do it, but for effectiveness, it's very important that these roles are shared. But early stage, if you feel like you can handle it, please, by all means, it's more money for you because you're going to be paid separately for these things. So again, try as much as you can, explore as much as you want. Uh,
All right.
so yeah,
Thank you for the answers. Yeah. So sorry, I need to ask another question. So,
okay.
I just want to ask about the community. For instance, now, if an email marketing designer will have to, it is actually necessary for the brand to already have a website, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Right. Okay. So,
No, say that
like
again.
trying to,
Hello.
sorry, are you saying anything?
Yeah, say that again. I didn't hear it clearly.
Okay, this is what I'm asking. I'm just trying to check around the collaboration between the UX designer and the email marketing designer. For okay, I actually asked for instance now that for a particular brand and they want to work on an email marketing design. So just like trying to check around it that I think they would have gotten a website yet, right? Before
Yeah, yeah,
email marketing designer comes in. So I'm
yeah,
just trying to check around it. Since you said that the recommended tools would be Figma and Canva. So is it that there is a collaborating tool on Figma, like a community tool where the marketing designer can access the brand assets that was used by the UI UX designer, so it can actually make it easier for the email marketing designer to align with the brand guideline. I don't know if you get my question.
yeah, yeah. I get you. I get you. So, you understand it clearly. You want to know the extent as which you can collaborate on Figma. I think that the way I can answer that is, um, for instance, just like I said, there's no brand that is coming to do email marketing or that would require email marketing services that does not have a website. And that's going to be the website is going to be the end point where people can actually purchase. Do you understand? So most brands, most reasonable brands always have a brand guideline, like in form of documents. It could be a PDF, it could be Google Drive or whatnot that they would share. And what you can do in that aspect is, you see the way on Figma, what we did at first was create this signing system here. This is usually supposed to be an actual brand guideline given by the brand. or the client. But in case of brands that don't have that, you can create something like this. It could be more detailed than this, right? Okay, let me quickly show what an actual brand guideline should look like. This is a much more detailed brand guidelines for a brand I'm working on at the moment. So this is a full brand guideline, full brand. I'm not even done with it, and it's already ranging up to this is I think page 45, right? So it has all the details of everything. See, there's email marketing here. There's as direction, social media. So it has every detail that you need. This is for an actual organized company. Not all companies are like that. Right. So in case where you don't have that is when you do something like this for yourself, so that wherever you're working with the copywriter or whatnot, you can also like see these things. You can share your Figma link with them. You can give them edit access. You can give them just view access if you don't want them touching your design. Yeah. Even for your clients, when you want to present your work, your finished work, you don't necessarily have to export the design and be sending it to them one by one. All you have to do is send them a link to that Figma file. They check it by themselves. You guys can have chats on Figma. You can have comments, drop comments. You can respond to the comments. If there are any feedback or reverts or whatnot. Do you understand? So okay, let me give an example. When I work, my copywriter has access to my Figma file, so they can come there. Sometimes is when the design is done that the copywriter is realizing that one line did not sound right and they want to change it, they want to edit it. So it gives you that, you don't necessarily have to exporting and exporting and sending. The only time you get to export is when you get to the final stage to actually upload and clean it. So again, that's why I would always recommend if you know anything. I would always recommend. Was I able to answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that. I really
And
appreciate.
also to add to that, right, in terms of finding people you can work with, the I can say that finding people to work with you in the e-commerce space or email marketing space is very easy because it's not a saturated industry. So if you go on LinkedIn now and you're looking for a copywriter for e-commerce brands or an email designer for um, e-commerce or email marketing in Nigeria, you would find them very easily because there are not a lot of them to find. So there's always that. You can always find people like that. You can just look for someone like that on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and send them a DM. Tell them you like what they do, you like to collaborate with them. You don't necessarily, you're not paying a salary. Collaboration is so you guys have projects you can work on. For instance, um, I've been working with the same strategist and copywriter and account manager for the last 3 years. We started working together on a particular project and we just understood each other. Like our workflow was similar. And that was it. And we've been at this for 3 years straight now. And we've worked on several brands together like that. So, um, how about it to answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I
All
appreciate.
right. Yeah, super. I'm seeing Praise his hand up. Praise, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hey, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Right.
Okay, okay. So the class has been actually been very insightful and eye-opening for me because I've actually been learning email marketing on HubSpot.
Oh,
So coming here and I'm finding out that you can actually they actually can specialize in different roles like for email design now and then for like copywriting and all that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I was really thinking about how like email marketing is just one person that's going to do the design because that's how they're
Oh,
representing it on
are you
HubSpot. You're going
serious?
to do you're going to do the design, you're going to write the copy, and you even work with the CRM tools like to check
Yeah,
the metrics, click rates, open
yeah.
rates, all these things. I was like, that's not, like, is that not too much for one person? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But coming on this class, I found out that you can actually like choose like a specific
Mm-hmm.
area. But I don't know, Sha, I think I'll still like explore, like you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
I actually funny enough, I did the design class. I was there for yesterday or so, and they were talking about fonts. So I think you chose just one font. So they said when you're choosing fonts, you should like use only, the advice was to use at most two fonts. One font for header and then the other one
Yeah.
for the body. So I don't know how you implement that when you're designing. And then also, um, how do you choose fonts when, like, when you're working for different brands? Like, do you choose fonts based on like what the brand is trying to pass, like the brand message? And also, they also said there's this thing with email service, is it not email service providers, but like email clients or email, is it apps, I'll call it now, like Gmail and Outlook. They can only load up like certain fonts. So how do you like work around that? I think I've asked about
Mm.
three questions. I still have another question more.
Yeah.
Um, go
Okay.
on.
So first of all, I think it's great that you took up a course on HubSpot on marketing. But I think that I will also say, if I'm being honest, and if I'm allowed to be blunt, right, I don't think I've actually really seen a super concise course on the design part of email marketing yet. Like it's not always detailed enough to just like give surface level. So it's one of the reasons why we're even doing this, like to give like more practical sides to it, because there's just a lot to think about on the practical end, right? So, but I think it's great that you went to the course early because not even a lot of people know that it's an actual industry that you can thrive in. So that's a good one. And secondly, for funds, right? So when I was going to initially, okay, let me just say first of all that I would always suggest that you use what the brand has already. So even if they don't have a brand guideline, for those that have a brand guideline, they have their fonts like clearly stated there. This is the font you should use for our brand, nothing more. Right. For those that don't have, I think the easiest thing we can do is to just, like I showed us earlier, like check on the website, you know, right click on any font you see on the website, scroll down to the inspect option, and you see the name of the font. So you can actually search for the font and download it. But in some rare cases where you're trying to even help the client understand the right visual or design elements that they should use, you might want to suggest a font yourself. Now, these are very rare cases. I have a brand I work with like that. I mean, I didn't initially think that the typography, the fonts they were using was good for what they were trying to preach. So I did a design, did some stuff, and proposed that they change their font to a particular font because I thought of that font. I mean, I felt like the font was going to work better for their target audience. They saw reasons with it and accepted it. So they went ahead to change the old font on the website to the one that I suggested. Do you understand? So there's no I won't say there's no rule to it. Yeah. What is most important, first of all, follow the brand if the brand has structure. But if the brand does not have structure, it now comes down to you as a designer to bring up your A game and suggest what is best for. Now, for what you said about um the list being using two different brands is actually very correct. Two different fonts rather. It's actually very correct because you don't want to plug your design with like 4 or 5 different fonts. You've messed it up already. So it's always advisable to use two. If it's if it's super necessary, is when you can use three. And that rarely happens. Right? To keep it simple, you should use two. But for some brands, they use just one font, but they use different weights of that font to differentiate things. For instance, this brand will work. Use just a simple font, but this is just the font we use, just one. Like you come on the design, right? This is a regular. You know what? Let's make this medium, just so I can show you the contrast, right? It's a medium weight. So if you click on it, this is the weight option. You have ultra light, thin light, regular, medium, volume. We're using medium for this. So let me change the back. Okay. Now we come here, see the difference here. Same fonts, but this is bold because it's we're using to emphasize and call out the name of the product. But this part is just the description of the product. So we use the regular weight, not the bold. If you use bold here, see, there's no difference. You can't tell what is what, but this gives you good contrast. So it's one font, but different weights, and we're exploring that. But in some cases, right, some brands use different. For instance, where's some of the so here, for instance, this particular font, this is the brand by the way that I said I changed their font for them. This particular font is mostly used for headers, right? Like for this brand, we use this font for headers only. Every other part of the email, as you can see here, is a normal sans serif font. So another thing you can use to just probably like measure how you use your font is to just use the simple sans serif versus sans serif complementing serif font rule. So serif fonts are the fonts that have extra things attached to them. All those spiral fonts you see, all those fonts that look like someone here, right? Then the sans serif fonts are the normal ones. They don't have anything attached to them. They're just plain like this. This is the sans serif font, right? So for most cases, right, like you can use this serif as header, then use the sans serif. But sans serifs are always easier to read. This is a sans serif here too. They're easier to read. So you can just combine them. But that's just the only rule I would suggest anybody uses. If you can't use this one font with different weights, use one serif and one sans serif. And you can use two sans serifs depending on you. But if you want to even go over, like you want to design and you want to use the element and finish the design, depending on you, the highest you should do is sans serif against sans serif. Simple, not more than two. Just keep it clean like that. Because you will need to make sure that your design is readable at the end of the day. It's not just fine, it has to be readable. Right? So what's the last one? You asked me one last question.
Yeah, I said the from the class they said most of these email viewing apps like Gmail and Outlook they have like specific fonts. Okay, yes,
Oh
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
like specific fonts
Okay.
they can load up and show you
Mhm.
custom fonts and all that.
Yeah. So about that, I think where issues like that happen is always with HTML and CSS and all of that, because that only happens when that particular part of the email is coded. Now, what really happens most of the time is that there's a way you can combine both code and image, JPEG on emails. What I mean is that this entire part, this header part of this design can be exported as JPEG. And then the only thing that is being coded is this part because it's just normal text. This place is exported as JPEG as well separately. And this place, they have functions on Clearview and other email platforms that can actually create this on Clivio without you having to design it here. Right. So at the end of the day, when the person is uploading on Clivio or any other platform, is uploading JPEG, image JPEG first, then it's putting the text in between and all of that. You wouldn't have that kind of issue. You most likely not have that kind of issue. That, like I said before, there are different ways to upload your image. Some people use image alter. For instance, you could export this entire image, this entire image as a JPEG file, and you upload it like that. It still works. Only problem with that is that sometimes the image is heavy. So by the time the user is receiving and opening the email, it takes time to load. Have you received any email before that? When you click on it, it was taking time to load. That's because it was mostly uploaded as a full JPEG file and it was not compressed. So that's why some people kick against using the entire images. So you can use part mails and some parts are coded. For people that code the entire email, the problem with it is that font issue where sometimes the font changes to get, yeah, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not the only way to export. So I don't think we need to worry about that. That's what I'm saying, basically.
Okay, thank you. I understand what you're saying. So my
Right.
last question is
Okay.
the accessibility. So I actually have a background in UI UX design. And normally in UI UX design, when you're designing for accessibility, you're like taking some things into consideration like disabilities and like people on the spectrum and those kind of things. So they mentioned that, but they didn't really go into it. So I don't know how is that something that you take into consideration when you're building when you're designing an email?
Honestly, I think that the user side of it is what is most important, right? So the UI side of it is you just, I mean, like being a UI designer makes you design in a clean manner. That's what is mostly needed for email marketing. But it's not like that's what is really determining how well the email performs. It's the user side of it. So I think it's the UX side of it that is most important, honestly. You don't really need to be bothered about the the UI side of it. Like, yes, it's important, but what is most important is how the end user is viewing it, the process, the flow. Do you understand the flow of going through the email? Like, okay, what do they see first? Is this thing going to make them click on something? If they see this thing nice, will it make them angry? Will it make them not purchase all these things, all those labels? Yeah, I think it's the UX side of it that is most important, honestly. To just know how to think like a user, know the fundamental parts of working with the user at the back of your mind, the flow, like I mentioned, the journey of the user, very important. So as you're designing, you're thinking for them, you're thinking about their behavioral patterns, all of those things. That's what I think is most important, honestly. And that's what I was emphasizing on that a lot on this call.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks so much.
All right. Right. Oh, wow. Guys, you've spent 3 hours on this call. All right. So, any more question before we call it today? Oh, Rosemary. All right. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I must
Hey,
say
good
that
evening.
this has been a very interesting learning journey. I mean, there's so much
You.
value in here. I want to ask from a design perspective, when you started designing, I noticed that you use very intriguing yet simple design elements. So I'd like
Yes.
to ask, when it comes to email marketing design. Is minimalism a principle or rule you always follow? Or is there room to explore more detailed or expressive, designs? Maybe depending on the brand you're working on.
Okay, that's actually a very, very thoughtful question. Yeah, so I think minimalism in this sense is context based. I think that one mistake I've seen a lot of people make is when they hear minimalism, the only thing they think about, the first thing they think about is white and black, and that's it. So I think the most important idea of minimalism is keeping it simple and readable. Do you understand? Like this written space to get. So it doesn't necessarily have to be white and black, right? So what I'm saying that is I apply minimalism to all my designs, but doesn't necessarily, it's not, most of them are not necessarily as simple and straightforward as one that we just worked on. For instance, on the, okay, if you can see my screen now, this particular brand is also, this first one is also an activewear brand, like Warner, right? So Warner is for is a feminine brand, right? But this particular brand, what is it again? Is a masculine activewear brand. So it can't be as um simple as this. So they use more black and quite a number of things. But if you look at this particular design right now, it's still very clean and breathable. There's breathing space everywhere. There's enough space everywhere. So it's still minimal, right? The same thing with this. This has a lot of color going on. There's a lot of neon going on. But it's still simple and clean, right? Don't know if I have more examples here. See? So I would say that it's how you view minimalism that would determine the answer to that question, right? Because this is also minimal. There's enough space everywhere, but there is still room for exploration. I mean, there's a bottle on the background that is blurred out, just to show that these bottles are floating, all of that. So there's room for exploration. There are some brands that actually would specifically ask you to like throw some elements all over the place. They want the email to feel alive, all those things. So it really depends on the brand. And it also depends on what you consider as minimalism. Right. You get that, personally.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Makes a lot of sense.
Any other question? Anyone? Anyone?
Hi guys.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
If
I'm going
if
to
you
end
have
it
more,
over
if you
now.
have more questions, please.
So please, before you go, is there a way we can reach you? If you want to,
Sorry?
maybe perhaps you have any.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way we can reach you? Perhaps if you have any other thing would like to communicate or ask from you.
Oh, okay. So I think that the host would communicate that with you guys. So I think there should be something after
No, no,
this
even
where
I
you
think
come
they're
here.
asking for like maybe your social media handle or something.
Oh, oh, like personally. Okay, yeah. I mean, you know what?
Yes.
I'm going to send my, I don't know. I hope I've not forgotten my handle, but I think this should be it. So I'm sending it here. You guys can send me a DM on Instagram and we'll pick it up from there. I hope that's fine.
Have you
Yes.
dropped? Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. I think it has been like one long day. Let's start from there. It has been long. I personally did not even expect that, the sessions would take this long, because we actually scheduled them, we designed them to run for just, 2 hours, but we are at least happy, at the very least, we're happy that, you showed interest, you showed up, and I mean, you guys are better for it. And there's just a lot to take away from what you've already learned here today. And I mean, before I go on, I would like to see thumbs up. I was this session for you guys. I was this session for you guys. Yeah, Favor says the class is worth all the time spent. Nice, 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 nice. I can see Daniel with a thumbs up. I mean, the people we brought, for these sessions they're not small people. Let's start like that. They're experts at what they do, specialists in their own right, and like they've been at this for a while. So, best believe that whatever you were taught today or told today they didn't bring things together that they've not done before. Like I mean, they're also my friends, so most of the designs that they were showing you today, they were things that they've already done personally. So thank you guys for joining, and I mean, I want to congratulate you as well, because this is like a step up. This is like a step up. There's just like a lot to learn from this alone. Um, I don't know if anyone saw my I dropped the I dropped the link to join the community. Just that way you can stay updated on everything we have in store for you guys. Yeah. Even please, can you close this sharing? I want to enlarge. Okay. 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 What's going on? Just a second, guys. All right. So, I mean, from everything you guys have said, you've said that this was like a very good experience for you. You learned a lot. I'd like you guys to just take it a bit further. Go on Twitter, especially, just tweet and say, nice stuff about us, like what you learned from us today. If this was a great experience for you, let's just take like a few seconds to do that. Just tag us on Twitter at join Cradle. So yeah. Why someone's calling me? Okay, okay. So we've come to the end, but let's just do one last thing before we go. Let's all turn on our cameras and let's take a quick snapshot. We did it in the first session, so it's only right that we continue in the same line this time around. So please turn on your cameras. Let's take a picture or a screenshot of all of us. So I'm waiting for you guys. I'm waiting for you. Praise, Rosemary, Fawaz, Favor, Timmy. Alima, Ayala, Favor again, Testimony, Daniel, Rosemary. I'm waiting for you guys. Please turn on your video. Let's do something. Let them know something's happening here. Even you to turn on your video, I beg. Okay. All right. I can see faces from the first session actually. Like you guys actually, you are warriors. And I would just like to see like learning anything at all is not supposed to come easy. No matter how much, I mean, we are doing our best to make this interactive, make this interesting. But trust me, it's like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be nice. It's not supposed to be convenient, because that's how you grow. And I mentioned in the first session that our goal is to keep young Nigerians employable. And I mean, if 9 to 5 is not your thing, well, our goal is to also help you to deliver a great experience for your clients. Someone like Ebenezer now, Ebenezer is not a 9 to 5 guy. Is not like the rest of us. Okay, so yeah, so just keep your ears to the ground. We'll be launching soon with um more in-depth experiences as far as these courses are concerned. This is just like an introduction to it. I'm sure you guys want to go further in this as designers, right? And the best way to really do it, I think, Bo mentioned it, I think Ebiza has spoken on this too, is to, feed your eyes, feed your mind, and actually put in the work. Just like if after this call, whatever you've learned, find a way to apply it. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to be paid for it, to be honest. All right, all right. Thank you so much. All right, so let's take our snapshot. Just a second. let me, oh wow. So some people have not yet turned on their cameras. Adeolu, Alima, Fawaz, Favor. You guys, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. All right. All right. Okay, okay. I can see Fawaz. Alima, are you joining us? Ariola, are you joining us? Go see Favor, are you joining us? I'll give you like 5 more seconds before we just, do what we gotta do. Okay. All right. So yeah. So smile for the camera. Do whatever, whatever I need to do. Okay. All right. Don't forget to tag us on Twitter. This has been a very great one, both for me, I'm sure for the tutors and for you guys. And we'll be in touch. We're also going to send you the replays of all the sessions, as well as the slides. You're going to have everything in a couple of days. We just need to, cut, edit here and there, and then we'll send to you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and do have a great weekend. All right.
All right, guys. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. All right. Hmm.